a superior movie. And I'm going to put this argument out here before we start it. Ben, Part 4 is better than any of the Halloween slashers. Or, sorry, sequels. Slashers.
Not better than Halloween 2.
Yes.
I don't know. I like Halloween 2 also.
I do, but my problem with Halloween 2 is it could be easily fit in with any other decent slasher. It's nothing spectacular. Halloween tops all of them.
I don't know. You don't think that scene at the end of Halloween 2 where he's like slashing at Loomis and then
That's ridiculous.
I love that. I love it. It's great.
He
He
just
shoots him in the face, which is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, but
Slicing
4
at the
has
air.
a much better cast than...
4's better cast, better shot, more creative.
Maybe they had more money.
They didn't.
Maybe they had less money.
They did. I don't know. I enjoy watching Friday the 13th 4 almost more than any other slasher movie, period. There's only a couple I like more. Happy Birthday to Me is one of them. Other than Part 6, this is my favorite. That's why I'm talking so highly of it.
Freddy vs. Jason's a really good watch for
That's
me,
a good
too.
one, too. Yeah. This one starts out where the other one ended. First of all, it was directed by Joe Zito, who directed The Prowler, with Tom Savini doing the makeup in both movies. Tom Savini's back for this one, and the effects, you can tell there's a big improvement from plastic heads with eyeballs and strings.
It's come a long way since toothpicks since the first one.
This one picks up, they're cleaning up the mess from Part 3. They're moving all the bodies, and you get to see what it's like to clean up after one of these movies. They come to take Jason's body away, and a guy that looks just like Jesse Ventura is like, no, this time they got him.
Yeah.
So they take Jason's body to the morgue. This guy named Axel's there. He's eating a donut, puts it right on the dead bodies, doesn't give a shit. Talks about how he likes to have sex with some of the cadavers they bring in, and it's just ridiculous.
He's
Did he
such a
actually say
perv.
that?
Yeah, he's like, oh,
She's
real
not
easy,
quite
just
dead.
go over there, take off the pants, there you go.
Oh.
So he hits on this other girl. I don't know what her name is.
Nurse.
Nurse, yeah, hits on Nurse. They go back to the mortuary. Is that what it's called?
I think
Morgue.
so.
Crematorium.
Where his body is?
Yeah,
Morgue.
the crematorium. He goes back to the crematorium.
The morgue?
Yes, the crematorium.
Okay.
And he's watching
the moratorium?
the morgatorium. And he's watching stretching of some sort.
Some aerobic
I don't know what the
chick.
fuck it is. It's just they shake their asses in front of it, and then they like give
They call that
blowjobs to
twerking.
nothing. Oh, is it twerking? The
Yeah.
1984 version of twerking?
Miley
That's
Cyrus.
what they call twerking, yeah.
That's probably where she got it from. They turn on the report, and we see another sheriff different than the one who was just there at the crime scene in Part 3 at the end. They've already hired a new one. And he's like, yeah, Jason's dead. He's at the morgue. They start having sex beside Jason's dead body, and his hand falls down and freaks out the girl. And the guy goes, I'm quoting here because I love this, holy Jesus goddamn, holy Jesus jumping Christmas shit. She's all pissed off, and she goes to put some bottles away, and he turns the aerobics program back on, presumably so he can masturbate in the morgatorium. Jason gets out of his freezer somehow because the axe wound was not fatal. Jason grabs a bone saw,
Yeah.
and cuts
Takes
and
his head
twists
off.
this dude's head. He just butchers the fuck out of him.
Yeah. It was a good kill.
Yeah, it was. Goes in and guts the nurse.
Yeah, he starts it at
Good
the
for
sternum
him.
and he just
Good
takes
for
it
him.
not quite to the vagina but close.
He just, yeah. And then we meet Trish and Mrs. Jarvis? I don't
Yeah,
think I ever give
Mrs.
her name.
Jarvis.
Mrs. Jarvis. They're jogging. They're talking about how Mrs. Jarvis is horny. I don't know if you guys caught
She's
that.
good looking
Yeah,
for an
she's
older
alright.
lady.
They go back and there's Tommy, who's played by Corey Feldman, which is pretty cool.
Tommy
Yeah.
Jarvis, yes.
Yeah, he's there playing video games, and he's got a mask on. He's supposed to be modeled after Tom Savini because he has a skill to make masks and stuff, which is supposed to be important for the end, but it isn't really. I mean,
No.
that's why they put it in there, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. These 5 kids are driving to the house beside the Jarvis's house. They're going to a party. They drive by Mrs. Voorhees' grave, which is just right beside the road.
And it
Just
looked
right
so
there.
nice, like someone just
Yeah.
put that grave out.
Exactly.
And it was back in, well, I guess it would have been
Well, it just looks like she doesn't have any room to be buried there. They just put the stone by the road.
by the road.
Unless she's buried under the pavement or something.
Hope.
They're driving down the road, and this hitchhiker wants to go to Canada. She's this fat woman.
like a
And,
fat hippie.
She eats a banana and gets stabbed through the throat, which is my favorite kill in the series. Bar
Really,
none.
that one?
I don't know what it is about it. I think it's just the fact that it's somebody random eating a banana, and they really put that much thought into it. I think
Is that why
might
you
be
never
what
want to
it
eat
is.
bananas?
No, not at all. It's because I look like I'm giving fellatio.
You're filleting?
Filleting that banana. Yeah, the teens get to the house. The Jarvises introduce themselves. They got a dog named Gordon, who doesn't really play a part, but has a really confusing scene at the end. Then they start talking about how one girl's a whore and the other one's a virgin, and it's more bad crap talk. It's just not realistic at all. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you don't. It's just the worst conversation.
You know
you
how
can imagine.
guys are.
Yeah.
They talk, they lie. That's how I got
I've
my
never-
reputation.
In real life, I don't know
Really?
if you guys ever had this happen to you, but in real life, I have never heard a guy say that he had sex with a random girl
That he didn't?
that he didn't.
Me either. It
Ever?
doesn't happen.
Whatever. I'm sure the director has no idea what the real human race is like. Tommy spies on the two people having sex and acts really odd about the whole thing.
I guess he's 10 years old and
But if you're 10,
He
you're
probably
either-
thinks they're
here's the
fighting
thing.
or something.
Here's the thing. If you're excited about sex,
Daddy.
you don't act that way.
he's like,
He's acting like it's the greatest thing he's ever seen.
He's like
but-
bouncing up and down
Yeah,
in his
he's
bed.
jumping
like,
around.
Yeah. And his mom comes in and she's like,
Oh yeah.
"What are you looking at? Yeah, close your
he
blind."
pretends to be asleep.
He's
And then
like,
we get an ass
secretly-
shot. It cuts immediately to an ass shot.
Butt cheeks.
Butt
Yeah, there you
cheeks.
go. Forced, but that's okay.
Forced butt cheeks are better than no
Yeah,
butt
that's
cheeks.
true.
They had Coors beer in the movie too. The banquet
Oh,
of beer.
Did, yeah. Yeah, they got
Pete
real
Coors
product
getting
placement.
some
They aren't
advertisement in the
drinking-
final chapter.
They aren't drinking Whoops beer or something.
Zoop.
Zoop, Whoops, whatever. Can't even get the fake name right. So they're just partying. Crispin Glover's there. He does
What's his name in the movie?
dead fuck.
Yeah, Ted, he calls him a dead fuck the whole fucking
Yeah,
time.
Ted calls him a dead fuck, so we'll just go with dead fuck.
Why do they
Crispin
call him
Glover-
that, by the way?
Because, remember he put his hands to the pants, he's like, dead fuck.
Couldn't get it
That
out.
was later on, but I think there was a scene in the van
did a
going up.
computer thing.
Yeah, he was like, "This girl's been talking. You're a dead fuck."
Those
I'm like,
characters,
I can't-
they're my
I don't know.
this
I don't
group
get
of
it.
this group of characters is my favorite. They just seem like goofballs.
But those
All of 'em.
Teddy and Crispin Glover seem like they're a little outcast from the rest of the group.
Yeah, I
they're
think
like,
so.
like, well, how do they get there with these guys?
That always never makes sense. That always never makes sense to me. These people, it's not necessarily that maybe they wouldn't hang out together. It's that they don't get along even a little bit.
Yeah, another.
The lake, they find two twins who are dressed like the Spearmint Gum twins.
Riding bikes, of course.
They aren't attractive. Yeah,
They're not.
They're twins, but they're not attractive.
They're not ugly.
unattractive either.
What they're wearing is just.
You wouldn't kick them
Yeah,
out of
it's
bed
80s.
for getting
Yeah,
crumbs
it's
everywhere.
80s, you know, it's
Even
80s.
for 80s, that's fucking unappealing. It's the middle of the summer and they're wearing these long, heavy sweaters that are. Well, I know a little something about shirts with no or bad collars. But, they go swimming in a lake, which I assume to be Crystal Lake. And Tommy again sees them and he's like, "Whoa, naked people." Again, not acting like a normal human being.
Again, Crispin Glover is afraid to get naked with the rest of the group.
Yeah, everybody else is naked except him.
He's like, I'm a little shy. I'm just gonna stand up
He's
here.
so awkward.
That
the whole
would make
movie.
things much worse for you because now everybody just thinks that you're just hanging out to watch them get naked.
Yeah, or you have a really small wiener.
Yeah.
Either way, you lose. It's not like you can win in that situation.
So Tommy and Trish are making their way back. Their car breaks down because when you live in the woods, you don't want reliable transportation. It's the last thing that you want.
Everybody drives a
Everybody
fucking
drives
Volkswagen
junk.
Bug.
Yeah.
That's like literally from the
They were
60s.
hot in the 80s.
Not in the 80s, Jesus, maybe in the 60s and 70s.
It breaks down,
These people can't
and
afford
they're-
those nice
Tommy's
cars.
trying to fix it because he's some sort of boy wonder, but it's not working. And then Rob shows up out of nowhere, and he's just like, "Hi, Rob Dyer." Nobody.
Yeah,
nobody
Rob,
asks, nobody
Rob
cares.
Dyer is the bear hunter. Who
He's a
comes
bear
out of the
hunter
woods with a
who-
rifle over his shoulder.
Yeah, but really he's there for revenge on a murder that took place 3 days ago of his sister Sandra, who happened to be the girl from part 2 who was double impaled. That was her. She hasn't probably been buried yet, and he's already
They
out
wouldn't
for
even know that.
revenge.
Yeah, I mean, like
And
her body's still probably like.
he
in the
knows
hospital.
who did it. He knows where he's at. He knows he has all those articles on him, which had to have come from nowhere because this has been going on for 2 days.
Yeah.
And so he's hunting him with a rifle, and I think that's it, and like a tiny knife.
Yeah, he's got a little knife on him,
Yeah.
I think.
Well, he tells them that he's hunting bears.
He had a machete too, didn't he?
Yeah. He tells them he's hunting bears, and Tommy goes, "You can't be hunting bears." But we know, as I stated earlier today,
There are bears.
there are bears. Just ask Paul from Part 2, who reminded the women, keep clean, or the bears will smell you.
In reference to their cycle.
Yes. We go back to the house. They're playing these stupid games, and Crispin Glover does a dance. The greatest dance in the history of cinema. He's dancing to Black in Black, Back in Black, and they just switched the song when they edited the movie, so it looks like he's a complete maniac. The twins start hitting on anything and everything. They hit on the one guy who already has a girlfriend, so his girlfriend gets pissed off and goes out to go skinny dipping, which is what any rational person would do when they were mad.
You know what she says, though? When she storms out of there, she's like, it's getting a little close in here instead of hot in here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
my
that-
grandma says that.
It's getting a little close in here?
Yeah, close.
There's a lot of things about
Humid.
these people that make me think that they're old. I mean, later on, it gets really weird. She swims out to a raft that she has no idea whose it is, where it came from, or anything. And Jason happens to have been underneath that raft for God knows how long, just waiting in the hopes that somebody gets into it, and rams a knife right up through her.
I believe Jason has gills at this point because
He must.
he's very aquatic.
Well, he did drown.
I don't think he drowned. I think this is all a sham. I don't think he drowned at all. I think he went walking in the woods and his mom went, "I'll kill him."
I see
Raft.
boobs, at least from Sam. before
Raft,
she
we're
died.
raft. So
Was he the 80s bush?
No, not in this one, I don't think. Just the boobs. Oh, Crispin Glover's name is Jim. Jimbo, they call him. a
oh,
lot.
that's right.
And dead fuck.
Well, the other guy, he's all upset that his girlfriend walked out, so he goes out to find her, swims to the raft, finds her butchered, swims back, and that's where Jason has a harpoon gun from where the fuck he got that, I don't know. You can't just find harpoon guns.
He does,
He
though.
bought it at the fucking
He bought
Army
it
Navy store
or
up the
something,
street.
or maybe he went back to Part 3 and took the one he shot at that girl in the eye. But either way, he shoves it into the guy's groin and shoots him right through it. And first of all, you can see the guy suspended by wires in the shot. And second, I don't know how the physics of it are impossible. What's going on right there? Rob hears is that his name again? Rob? I already lost track.
Which one?
The bear hunter.
Yeah, Rob's
Yeah,
the
it's
bear.
Rob
hunter.
hears something, he goes to find out what it is, and while he's fucking around, Jason goes into his tent and snaps his gun in half.
He
Yeah.
literally is like, he sees him running into his tent, and he's there at the campsite, and Jason's already gone and destroyed everything in his camp. In
Within,
3
like, 2
seconds. Yeah, it
seconds.
was like 3
And knowing
seconds.
Jason's MO, would he really break the gun and run off?
And then just like retreat.
Yeah,
Just,
I don't
Go
think so.
stab him with that
yeah,
gun.
he's gonna take a half of it and just ram it through the guy. Then we go back to the house again, and the one twin hits on Jimbo, and they go have sex. And then the other twin is like, "You're a whore," even though like earlier in the movie she encouraged her to go be a whore. She like did that little walking thing with her fingers.
Yeah.
And as soon as she actually did it, she's like, "I can't believe you did that!" Oh! So she leaves and gets rammed. That's a cool shot. That is cool, isn't it? The lightning striking, you see the shadows on the wall, and she gets stabbed from behind.
Stabbed. What is he stabbed with? Like
The harpoon gun again.
is it? I thought
He's
it was
just
a
on a fucking
javelin.
rampage with his harpoon gun. Then he throws her against the wall, and that's when they find the 1920s porn, which is just like fat women in their
It's a stag show.
in their underwear bouncing around.
Dancing like idiots.
Yeah.
And they have
They are
20s bush.
so stoned.
Which compared to 80s bush,
That
it's just
they-
nothing. Like,
They're so stoned that they just sit there and laugh hysterically for hours at this goddamn movie. I mean, they have to be baked out of their fucking minds. Where am I?
I
we're
think
talking about 20s
Sarah,
bush.
Sarah goes in the shower with that other guy.
That's right. She's a virgin, and the first time she has sex, she gets pushed up against the glass in the shower.
And you know what you
What a way to
see?
go.
Butt cheeks
Butt
You see
cheeks.
butt
on the
cheeks.
shower.
There you go. Why do I keep fucking losing track of where I am?
Because you're drunk.
Fuck. I got my notes here. I gotta go through my notes.
You have a map on the one.
I got a map of where he goes.
Oh, after sex, Crispin Glover goes downstairs.
Oh, Crispin
and tells
Glover's
Teddy
having sex. Okay, this is...
while he's watching the movie still.
Let me give you what happens here. Jason's a magician. He goes, in one sequence, Ted is in the living room watching a black and white porn video. Jim is in the kitchen. Jason kills him when he's like, hey, where's a fucking corkscrew?
That's right.
Gets it in the hand, then gets hit in the face with a machete, which is cool. But then Jason goes outside, goes up on the roof, and then grabs the one twin who's upstairs, throws her out of the window.
Why is she out of the... She's looking for her sister, I think, or something.
She notices the
looking out
bike's
the window.
still there. The bike's still there, yeah. But he then goes back off the roof, downstairs, back into the house, into the kitchen, and grabs a knife. Ted's in the living room the whole time. How fucking stoned is he that
He can't
Jason
hear
walks in and
anything,
out of
too.
the house 2 times and he doesn't hear him? He then goes into the living room, cuts the reel-to-reel behind Ted that he's watching the movie on, goes around Ted to the back of the projector screen. Ted backs up to the projector screen and gets stabbed in the head. How did he do all that?
He's very fast.
He's very fucking magician, is what he is. He's a magic man.
Harry Houdini.
Ted's dead. Now everybody's dead except the 2 people who had sex in the shower. And Jason goes upstairs and shoves the dude's head into the wall.
Yeah, he jams his finger in his eye socket and squeezes his head a lot.
And he's like, I dropped the soap, old buddy.
He thinks it's Paul.
Yeah, he thinks it's... That's the guy's name, Paul, yeah.
Yeah.
He thinks that Paul would just creep up on him in the shower, and I think he actually was like, I dropped the soap, come on, seriously, Paul, get in here. The other girl, she's all happy and walks into the room, and that guy's dead. At this point, he's hanging over the shower, like, impaled.
Impaled, yeah.
Through
He's
the
like,
glass.
"Bleh."
He ends up somewhere else in a couple minutes.
But for now, he's
right
in the
now,
shower
he's in the
still.
shower. She runs downstairs and gets an axe through the door into her chest, which is fucking awesome.
Jason just happens to be right outside the door.
Yeah, he
throws it
throws
through
an
the
axe
door. He
through the
knew
door,
she was
and it
there.
spins and hits her in the chest, and she's done. So,
In addition to archery, he also is an
he can do
expert
anything
thrower
he
of
wants.
axes.
He would win the
He's
outdoor
very
games.
good. He might be Native American a little bit.
Indian.
Fish runs down and finds Rob. Wait, they come home and their mom's dead.
Their
I
mom's
think.
gone.
Their mom's gone. We don't know what happened to her. She screams at something off screen and disappears. You never see her or hear from her again. That's it.
As they're searching, Gordon jumps through the window.
Whoa, way ahead. Hang
Oh,
on.
that's right.
Hang on.
I got all that right here.
Trish goes down, finds Rob's tent. Rob tries to kill her with a machete, then explains that he's not hunting bears. He explains this awful premise that he's hunting the guy who killed his sister
2 days ago.
2 days ago.
And he's got these news articles to prove it.
Yeah,
that
he's
were
like,
printed.
Jason's body disappeared from the morgue. It was stolen. It was not stolen. Follow-up question. Okay, why was it not stolen? Oh, I don't have an answer for that. I just think it wasn't. Then they realize that they left Tommy at the house. And they panic, and they run back, and then they go next door. And even though they just panicked that they left Tommy at the house, they don't care to leave that they're leaving him there again to quote hold down the fort. Yeah. Anyway, they go next door to check out the house, and they find dead bodies all over the fucking place.
It's a fun house again.
Yeah, it's another fun house, and this is when things get really strange with the dog. Trish is downstairs, Rob is in the basement, and the dog is upstairs. The dog goes out the window. Now, either the dog went out the window on its own for no reason, or somebody threw him out the window. That somebody, we assume, would be Jason. If that's true, how the hell did he get in the basement to attack Rob?
I have no idea at this point, because the dog jumps from 2 or 3
2
stories up.
On its own?
On its own? No, that doesn't make sense. And how would it jump through the window? It would have to get a running start.
Yeah, I don't think, even if a dog saw a dead body, it wouldn't be scared like a human and run out the window to get away.
No.
So,
You would just eat it.
yeah. So Trish goes upstairs and checks behind the bathroom door. And Paul? Is that what you said his name was?
Rob.
No, the guy in the Paul is the guy that got stabbed in the nuts with a spear gun.
Who's the guy in the shower?
Said guy in the shower is... I have shower guy.
Shower guy is no longer in the shower. Shower guy has been spiked to the wall. Why? What the fuck? Well, that's Jason's way of just having a good time, I guess.
Putting bodies everywhere.
So
Just
they-
where you know that they're going to come out.
Yeah. So they go downstairs, or she runs downstairs, and she's like, Rob, he's here. I found a dead body. Oh. So they're running up the stairs, and he goes, oh, I forgot something. Was it a knife? An axe? I think he's like, the axe.
The axe.
He runs back downstairs, and Jason pops up out of nowhere. He's been down there the whole time, just hanging out. He grabs a mini garden rake and just starts hacking the shit out of Rob, who proceeds to yell.
He's killing
There you
me!
He's killing me!
Yeah.
He's killing me! And he just says it over.
He
and
doesn't
over
fight back. He
and
just
over.
sits there and takes
He's getting
lashing.
hacked to death. He's killing me!
And this, folks, is your Jason killer. This is the guy who's been hunting him. He can't do anything. And I know the story behind this, and it's ridiculous. The director was reading a newspaper article in New York, and apparently, like, these people were walking by a house, and they heard somebody being killed, and inside the guy was just yelling, help me, he's killing me, he's killing me, and he thought that it sounded, to him, chilling. So he had Rob do this, like, 15 times, and it never sounded right, but he just left it in the movie.
It sounded
It
awful.
sounds terrible. So she runs up the stairs and she's like, oh, and then she's like thinking about going back down, and she like slowly walks down the stairs. Jason killed Rob and then climbed underneath the stairs like a little kid and like reaches up through it. And grabs her. Yeah.
Surprise! Breaks through the steps.
So she's trying to get back over to Tommy, and she opens up the door, and Crispin Glover is strung to the door frame.
He's got
Knives in
4
his hands.
knives on his legs and his hands, and he's just strung
He's like
there.
crucified, like right on the door. Like,
Where'd he get all these
where'd
knives
these fucking
from?
knives come from? And they're not like steak
know.
knives. These are like
I
solid
don't
daggers.
know. She runs back over to her house. Tommy's there. Tommy's read the articles in
Oh,
Rob's
she
bag.
falls out of a window.
That's
'cause
later.
Is
That's
that
later.
later?
Yep, she tells Tommy to like help her lock all the doors, and she's like nailing them shut. And Rob's body, surprisingly, gets thrown through a window. This is the 4th body we've had thrown through a window. She's looking at him, and Jason throws the body through the window, but then crashes through the door.
Why did he just walk through the
Just
window?
walk through the fucking window. But he crashes through the door, and he throws a hammer like a tomahawk, and it gets stuck in the wall in a very unusual way.
It's literally the claw part is not in the wall.
No.
And the head is not
It's
either.
like
It's
stuck. It like got glued to it or something.
The special effects on that scene were just awful. It was like, wow.
So he chases him upstairs. They lock the door. They start sliding the shelf of toys over. And if you look at this scene, the way they cut it, they're sliding the shelf. This toy, it's a little monster with an orange ball. It's on the top shelf. They're moving it. It falls off. They cut the Trish. It's back up. They do it again. There's no toys on any of the shelves. They move it a 4th time, and it's back up, and it falls off again. So they got the shelf in front of the door, and they're hiding. Jason busts through that with an axe, and again, he gets through, but then he's like, oh, I'm going to unlock this door. Just go walk through the door! So while he's fucking around with the door, and he can't figure out how bedroom door unlocks itself, he's there for like 5 seconds. Like, Trish picks up a TV and smashes it on his head. He's fine, by the way. He's alright. They start walking, and rather than walk around him, Trish literally like weaves back and forth across his body like she's playing hopscotch. And he throws an axe at her, gets it stuck in the wall, and then he can't decide whether to go after Tommy or Trish, so he decides Trish because I don't know if he doesn't go after kids or what, but he's chasing Trish.
Yeah, I would say
He's
that
probably
does.
trying to rape her. You know
yeah,
his MO.
yeah, he does like to rape. So he runs next door. They're back over at the other house again. That's when she runs upstairs, and Jason has this maybe my favorite moment where of him running, but he's like standing there and he's like sizing up the situation.
He's
that's awesome. I think that's so good. I think he's one of the whoever played this guy. I think it was Ted White played him, but I might be wrong. It might have been 3.
Richard Booker was 3, so you
Okay.
might be right with Ted White.
He was John Wayne's stunt double in like 15 of his movies, so he knows how to use his body,
Yeah.
and he did a great job as Jason. He chases Trish, and she jumps out the window, does a flip, and crashes on a mat.
Slow-mo panty scene, too, as she's falling on the softest mud mat around.
And Jason looks down at her, and as soon as she moves, he goes down there, and he's going to go after her.
Does he touch her?
Well, he wants
He
to.
tries
He's
to.
like, oh, finally. But he chases her next door, and Tommy gets this psychotic idea in his head that if he makes himself look like child Jason, that Jason will be confused. Surprisingly enough, it works. I don't know how.
Of course.
But Trish is actually fighting off Jason and proving Ben's theory correct again, because she hits him in the hand and she hits him in the chest with the machete, and then he can't quite kill her because she's just beating away on his head and he can't get the death shot in. And Tommy comes running downstairs and he shaved off all his hair and wore short shorts. And,
They're the tiniest
yeah.
shorts.
I mean, he's like, remember me, Jason? And what? Do you remember a physical representation of yourself? What the fuck is he talking about?
Yeah, I have no idea.
And how does he even know that much about Jason? From Rob's newsletters?
All the newspapers said was this man is responsible for the murders. How this photograph was taken, we don't know.
And this goes back to like we talked about this before, like a recurring theme in this series is they're always trying to play psychologist with me. Like they always
exactly.
try to get inside Jason's head. Like they
There's
do
nothing in there.
Yeah,
it's a big empty sack.
They try to do it in like every movie.
Well, this happens to work, so Trish takes a swing at him, and I think it's actually a better swing than hitting him in the face because she hits that strap dead on and knocks his mask off. But it's actually a terrible shot because she had all day to line it up, and that's what happened.
And you find out he's just slightly uglier than he was in the movie before.
It looks like shit.
Yeah, he's ugly.
Thompson,
He lost his mullet, though, from 2.
He had a fucking like mountain man mullet.
He lost it in part 3. I don't know if he shaved it off when he went to
Yeah,
the
he was
house.
completely bald.
So yeah, he turns around and gets hit in the face with a machete by Tommy. I'm gonna say this: when I was 3 or 4 years old, this was on HBO all the time, and my parents were watching it. I jumped in the middle of the movie when that girl gets thrown out the window, and it scared me because like I refused to look out windows when I was a little kid because I was afraid Jason would throw me out. But like that part was okay. I didn't understand a whole lot about what else was happening. But when the mask got knocked off when I was 4, it scared the fuck out of me. It was the scariest face I'd ever seen. Literally. And I wouldn't watch any other Jason movie because I was afraid his mask would come off at some point. He slides down the machete, and it's cool as hell.
It is cool, and it looks like it should definitely have killed him.
It did. His fingers twitch because it's an involuntary muscle spasm. And Tommy freaks out and chops him into pieces. And it
Just stabs him repeatedly.
I don't know how that little kid swung that machete that hard, but damn.
Over and over again.
So it cuts to the hospital, and the last shot is Tommy hugging his sister and staring at the camera all menacingly. Because they wanted to make it look like he was going to take over.
Yeah, Tommy kind of looks like Jason, like we talked about this before, but like
Not really.
just kind of looking like an asshole.
So that's Friday the 13th 4. There's actually an alternate ending to this one too, which is a dream sequence, which would have pissed me off if I had to sit through one more of those. It was, they find their mom dead in a bathtub, and when they're looking at her, she actually, like, her eyes open and they're all white, and then Jason comes behind them and kills them. It's bad. You can see it on YouTube. It's bad. So it was a good choice to cut that. That's it. That's Friday the 13th 4. They were, for all intents and purposes, going to shut this project down. That's why it was called the final chapter. They told the director, kill him. This is it. The only reason they left the Tommy stare in there was just in case they wanted to make another one. It's an example of irresponsible filmmaking just to make money. Because they know there's a group of people who will watch whatever Jason does. If Jason went on Broadway and sang songs in a movie, they'd go, but they'd be pissed. They'd still go, they'd still get the money off of us, and they could make another one and shit in our faces again. They'd be like, oh, we're sorry about the Broadway thing, we'll do something else. And they'll just stick him in a camp with 8 people who don't get along, kill all of them, have one survivor. And then they can go back to doing some shitty one again. That's how it works. It should have stopped. But I still love the series to death.
Me too.
So, alright, what did you think of this one, Cobra?
I gave it a 6 out of 10. I enjoy it. It's probably mid for me somewhere in the series. I enjoy a few more ahead of it, and I think it's better than a lot of them. So, 6 out of 10 for me.
All right, Ben. What about you?
It's pretty forgettable overall. I mean, Tommy Jarvis is okay, but he plays a part in a couple more movies. But the problem I had with that was they went in a completely different direction than what I think they intended to go with in Part 4. I think in Part 4, they led you to believe...
Nice.
Yeah, I'll let that guy go. I think in Part 4, they led you to believe that Jason actually was dead, which I think they tried to do a couple times, and that they were going to kind of like pass the torch to somebody else. But
Kind of like what Saw did.
yeah. And I don't know. Other than that, I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, actually, like out of the first 4, I liked 3 the most out of the first 4 because that was the first one I ever saw, so it kind of stuck in my mind the most. But this one wasn't bad overall, so I'd say like a 4 out of 10.